Most players buying a racket right now will never pick up the one that would actually suit them best. They will walk straight past it, because it does not look the way they expect a serious racket to look. It does not have the most shelf space or the loudest campaign behind it. And in 2026, one of the 5 best frames on the market is sitting in that exact blind spot, being the first frame that actually solves a problem serious players have been complaining about for years. These are the 5 best rackets you can buy right now, and they earn that place on court performance alone. Start with the rarest head size in mainstream tennis. There are very few 95 square inch rackets left in the game. Most manufacturers have moved on, chasing the forgiveness of larger heads. Yonex did not. The Vcore 95 is still here, and the 2023 update made a real case for why the smaller head size deserves to survive. Denis Shapovalov plays it. The frame earns that association. Not every pro pick does. His explosive one-handed backhand and the surgical angles he produces make this frame aspirational for a specific kind of player. The kind who values precision over forgiveness, who wants to feel every millimeter of contact, who is not interested in the net catching their errors. The 2023 update dropped the stiffness to 60 RA. That is genuinely soft for a frame in this category. And it makes the Vcore 95 arm-friendly in a way most precision frames are not. The SIF grommets use silicone oil infusion to reduce friction between string and grommet, producing faster string snapback and more spin than the spec sheet alone suggests. The expanded isometric geometry at the 2 and 10 o'clock positions widens the effective hitting zone without compromising the precision that defines the 95 head. Tennis Warehouse called it one of the most forgiving 95 square inch rackets on the market. Here is the truth about who this frame is for. If a player does not move well to the ball, does not swing fast and full, does not consistently strike the center of the string bed, the 95 will punish them in ways the 100 square inch frames on this list would not. What it is, for the right player, is irreplaceable. Players who have assumed the 95 is beyond them and settled for larger heads should demo this frame before deciding. The 60 RA stiffness alone changes the calculation. And for players who have avoided precision frames because of past arm problems, this is the one worth revisiting first. From the most demanding frame on this list to a frame that has been building its reputation across decades and just became meaningfully better. The Wilson Blade 100 version 10 launched in April 2026, and it is the most significant structural update the Blade family has received in years. That is not marketing language. The version 7, 8, and 9 were iterative refinements of the same core design. The version 10 introduces a variable beam for the first time in the Blade's history, adds Stable Feel Plus technology to reduce frame wobble on off-center contact, and tightens manufacturing tolerances for weight, balance, and swing weight to a degree that makes matching multiple frames genuinely reliable. Tennis Warehouse called the version 9.1 of the best hidden gems in the sport. Every playtester on their roster was equally impressed. The version 10 builds on that foundation with structural changes that make a noticeable difference on court. More stability under pace, cleaner response on off-center hits, and a more connected feel through the handle thanks to Direct Connect technology fusing the butt cap directly into the carbon fiber. The Blade 100 is the accessible entry point to the Blade family. The 100 square inch head forgives the timing errors a 98 would punish, while the sub-64 stiffness keeps it genuinely arm-friendly. Arina Sabalenka is playing it. So is Jakub Mensik. So are 3 other top 10 players. But the version 10 is worth buying because of what it does on court, not because of who is holding it in the press photos. If someone asks what a well-made, all-purpose player's racket looks like in 2026, this is the most complete answer on the market right now. If you are tired of letting an endorsement contract decide what goes in your bag, subscribing to this channel costs nothing. And the next 3 frames are where the branding gets louder and the arguments get harder to cut through. From the benchmark that just got better, to a brand that most players have already walked straight past without giving it a second look. Mizuno is not a name that immediately makes most tennis players think about rackets. It makes them think about running shoes, baseball gloves, golf clubs. That is exactly the problem. Because the Mizuno Acro Speed 300 is a genuinely competitive power frame that enters one of the most contested categories in tennis, the same space as the Babolat Pure Drive and the Yonex Zone 100, and it arrives with real engineering rather than borrowed credibility. The Energy frame construction uses an arched cross-section to store and return energy directly to the ball. The dual spring technology creates what reviewers at Tennis Warehouse described as a trampoline-like effect on contact. The alternate booster grommet system mixes round and rectangular grommet holes to bite the ball for spin and widen the effective sweet spot. These are distinct structural choices with documented results, not a brand dressing up average materials with impressive-sounding names. Tennis Warehouse playtesters found the sweet spot very forgiving and the power access easy. Tennis Nerd placed it squarely in the Pure Drive category and described it as accessible, comfortable, and slightly more refined in feel than its main competitors. The honest trade-off is a muted feel at contact. Players who rely on constant ball feedback will notice its absence. Aggressive baseliners who swing with pace will not. This is the frame for the player who has been buying the same brand for 5 years, out of habit, and has never once questioned whether the name on the frame is actually earning its price. The Acro Speed 300 competes with the best in this category. It just does not have a French Open title attached to its name. That should not be a reason to overlook it. Now to the most recognizable spin weapon in the history of the game. In the jungle of power and spin rackets, the Babolat Pure Aero has been described as the apex predator. That is not an exaggeration. The orange paint, the aerodynamic throat, the Nadal association. This frame sells itself before a buyer ever holds one. Babolat even released the Pure Aero Origin, a racket with identical specifications to the frame Nadal actually plays, so players could feel there was almost no distance between them and the king of Roland Garros. That is a very effective piece of marketing. The 2023 generation is also, for the first time in a while, a very effective racket. The key change is the string spacing. Babolat went back to a tighter pattern compared to the previous generation, and the result is a frame that can actually be aimed rather than just launched. Tennis Warehouse called it a wonderful middle ground between control and power, accessible to a broad range of players from strong beginner through seasoned tournament level. The aerodynamic throat, which players often assume is pure cosmetics, has been confirmed as functionally meaningful by multiple independent reviewers. The maneuverability it creates is real. The honest caveat is also real. Tennis Nerd raised documented arm concerns when this frame is strung with stiff polyester at 53 pounds or higher. The denser string pattern made the frame stiffer than its predecessor. Players who grab a set of RPM Blast, string it up tight, and then wonder why their elbow is sore 3 weeks later. The frame is partly responsible, but the marketing certainly did not warn them. String this frame intelligently, and it rewards heavy topspin players with genuine depth and pace. Treat it carelessly, and it will find your arm before your opponent does. The 2023 Pure Aero is finally the racket its reputation has always claimed it was. Just read the small print before you string it, from the spin machine that defines a category to the one that almost no one saw coming. Head has made the Speed family one of the most popular racket lines in the world by building frames that feel plush, play fast, and appeal to a wide range of competitive players. The Speed MP dominates club courts. The Speed Pro serves a more demanding audience. For years, players who found the MP too powerful and the Pro too stiff have been asking Head for a middle option with a smaller head. The Speed Tour is that frame, and it is the one most club players in 2026 still have not seen on court. The 97 square inch head with a 16 by 19 string pattern sits between the Pro's precision and the MP's accessibility. What makes the engineering here interesting is the beam. Head kept the constant beam thickness from the Speed MP rather than thinning it out, which is what most manufacturers do when moving to a smaller head. On paper, that decision should have produced a stiff, boardy frame with no feel. It did not. High-bore technology integrates compression-resistant boron fibers into the shaft to provide stability and a connected feel at impact. Auxetic 2.0 in the yoke and handle optimizes the response at contact. The result is a 61 RA stiffness rating despite the beam thickness. Tennis Warehouse playtesters described it as a Swiss Army knife, predictable and obedient in most circumstances, and noted the 16 by 19 pattern made it extremely topspin friendly for a frame in this head size. The swing weight of 325 provides enough stability without making the frame feel sluggish under pressure. At $269, it sits at the premium tier. That pricing is earned. This frame does something competing designs in the 97 square inch category struggle to do. It delivers plush feel and spin access without the boardy stiffness penalty that thin beam precision frames usually carry. It is new enough in 2026 that most club players have not seen it on court yet. That is a genuine first mover advantage for any player willing to demo it before the rest of the field catches up. Every racket on this list was chosen for the same reason. Not because a brand spent the most on its launch campaign, not because a pro player silhouette looked compelling on a billboard, because the frame does what it claims when a real player picks it up and hits balls with it. That is a shorter list than the marketing would have you believe. And it is the only list that actually matters when you are standing at the baseline trying to win a point. Demo before you buy. Question the endorsement. Look past the cosmetic. The frames worth buying are already here, and most players are just too distracted by the noise to find them. What racket do you think belongs on a list like this that the market keeps ignoring? Drop it in the comments. I will be reading every one.